Sup y'all, it's me, it's your boy Asmongold, and today I wanted to give you guys a new way to make gold. And by new, I really mean this is a better way of farming a spot that I've shown you guys before, if that makes sense. Now this whole idea was brought to my attention by my boy Rek on YouTube, sent me a tell, told me all about this. Thank you Rek, and hopefully this can help some more people as well. Now I go right over here to Seat of Knowledge. I talked to Lorewalker Han, the Raid Finder Storyteller, and this allows me to queue for any of the Mists of Pandaria Raid Finder instances. And so one of the instances is the Dread Approach, which is the most efficient, I believe, and it's also the hardest to do. I pop my Potion of Luck, and this will remind you guys, if you've seen my Heart of Fear gold farming guide, this is basically the same thing, but even better, because this is Raid Finder instance, so it's going to be 25-man mobs, but also those mobs are a little bit weaker now because they're tuned for Raid Finder and not necessarily an actual raid. So what I do is I go in here and I just pull all the mobs, the same as I always do. All of this stuff is basically the same, and one thing that Rek was doing that he was telling me about, because he didn't really have my gear. Like, if you want to farm, pull the entire room, even I had trouble with it, and I have like I have like a 695, 795 ring. Like, I have like almost all the best gear, and so I would assume that, like, if you can at least just pull half of this this instance, you're going to be pretty much good to go. And then once I get enough of them, see, I don't even think I was really able to get all of them right there, or at least not in one pull. So I get all of them together, pop my ring, pop everything else, AoE them all down, and now they're all dead. So this is pretty much what I'm going to do. And since I popped the Potion of Luck, what that's going to give me is it's going to give me Plundered Treasure, I believe that's the name of it, but it's this little treasure chest that you get. And so you can do this 10 times an hour. And so the original, I guess, a guide that I did said that you want to be able to do it at least like once every 2 minutes, so you could optimize, because you can only do 10 instance runs per hour, if you guys didn't know. So you want to make sure that you can do as many of them as possible. But this kind of like removes, because you can leave the queue or leave the instance after you finish this, and that automatically ports you back. So you skip the entire run back phase for this part of the I guess, like, what's really the way to put this, for this farm spot. And so that really saves you a ton of time, and it kind of gives you all that more time, so you can be a little bit slower with doing each different run, but you're going to be getting about the same amount of stuff, and you're also going to be maximizing your Potion of Luck in an even more efficient way. So after I loot all those items, I go ahead and I leave the instance group. And there's also one thing that's really fucking good, is that you've got a vendor right here, Brand Bronzebeard, and you can talk to him. It sucks that you have to talk to him twice, but I mean, that's like really, like, like very odd. I mean, that's some shit you complain about in Diablo, not WoW. But anyway, as you see, I was able to sell all my stuff, and also at the same time, like in between like loading in and just walking around, you can even make a macro to /use plundered treasure, so you can be doing this all the time. And so this is just more about saving more time, getting more out of your farming spots, and everything else like that. Now, I also want to expand on this and show you guys some other spots at the same time that you can also use with this technique with the LFR Raid Finder stuff. Now, I'll show you guys another pull of this, but I do want to say one thing right now, is that I died doing this a lot of times, and so I do recommend what Rek did. I'm sorry if I interrupted myself earlier. What Rek would do is he told me that he would just pull this first room and maybe like the pack ahead of him there, and not try and run down and pull everything at the same time like I try to. And the reason that he tried to do that is because, as I said, he didn't have as much gear, and it would kind of net the same amount, because in 25-man there are more mobs in the instance, so it kind of balances out better, if that makes sense. So again, I get everything together, and I guess I just didn't really use my ring here. And as you guys can see, if you don't use your ring, and you don't really have like really good gear or anything, because these mobs, the shield bearers, I believe, they do a stun on you, and so you want to be very, very careful here. And so if you don't really have very good gear for doing this, I would recommend only pulling the first room. And you can do all of this in 2 pulls, and that also makes sense as well, because like the big money packs, guys, are the little groups of the little wasp things that are flying around, not actually doing like the larger mobs. So you want to kill as many of the wasp packs as possible. So this is the second one right here, and I'm doing the Guardians of Mogushan. Now, this is going to be the first half of the Mogushan vaults, and so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just run down there and aggro everything with the Stone Guard. Now, I'm just doing that to show off, to be honest, but really, I mean, you don't really have to do that one way or another. You might want to do it if you're going to farm this over and over and over. You might want to do the Stone Guard at the same time, just because you get a little bit more money for it, but other than that, there's no real point. So as soon as I aggro them, I'll just go ahead and parachute down here, pull these mobs, and so this is just another way that you can kind of farm things. And one thing that I really like is being able to do things at, I guess, what you would call like maximum efficiency, right? Efficiency, which is, in my opinion, like having to run all the way back from the instance, especially in an instance that isn't really kind of like circular, you know, it's really kind of a waste of time. And so whenever you're looking for like, what can I get, like what's the most that I can get out of my time, I think that doing this through the LFR queuing system is going to be just a little bit more efficient than actually walking into the instance normally. And again, make sure that you have the macro /use plunder treasure for this, and you also have a lot of room in your bags, so you don't have to talk to Brand as many times. Now, how much gold per hour is this going to net? I think probably in Legion, guys, I'm going to kind of move away from the whole how much gold per hour is anything going to make. And the reason for that is I see a lot of guides, and you know, I've talked about this a number of times, where I just really think that they're misleading. And so I don't really want to mislead you guys. I don't want to have somebody go into one of my videos, and this, by the way, is the second level of the of Throne of Thunder. I think this is Tordos all the way up to Jikun, and so I'm going to pull these bats, and long story short, guys, this was a complete waste of time. So I just really, I feel like kind of bad if somebody tells me like, yeah, I tried your guide and I only got like maybe 1,000 gold an hour, or not 4,000 gold an hour. On my server, I can tell you guys that I'll probably be able to get, if I farm this for an entire hour, or not even for an hour, because it's really 20 minutes, because you want to do it within the Potion of Luck time, and that's what being able to pour it out of the instance allows you to do, to get under 2-minute runs, if that makes sense. So you don't have to use 2 Potions of Luck and waste your money. And so anyway, because that's like, you know, you don't want to subtract money from your gold per hour. It's kind of common sense, right? Anyway, so Tordos, I just killed Tordos, and I got no plunder treasures. So don't ever do that. I also tried the Siege of Orgrimmar area with Malkorok, and I thought maybe I could aggro all of these mobs, but these didn't drop anything either. It was a really big disappointment. So I'm going to be trying to move away in a lot of, I guess, like in a lot of my gold farming guides, if it's not like raw looted value of a, not looted item value, but looted value like the actual gold, I'm going to be moving away as much as I can from actually just kind of telling people like, yeah, you're going to make, you know, like 3,000 gold per hour, because every server is different. And so I'm going to try and do that. I don't really know how well I'm going to succeed, but that is definitely my goal. So I really do hope that this guide helped you guys. I enjoyed making it a lot. I always like doing big AoE farming packs. And so if you got the idea of like maybe doing some farming, and you might try this out, I don't need to farm actually anymore, because Blizzard just invited me to group and gave me a lifetime supply of Spectral Tigers. So I'm doing this guide for you guys, not for myself. But anyway, that's pretty much all I've got for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know if this spot's worked for you. And thank you again, Rec, for the idea. So thank you for watching, and like, comment, subscribe.